I guess you would say that I'm back. I've been gone for a while, but I haven't forgot about you all. You know, I want to, you young people see these things right here? They can take away your freedom. They call these things here, they call them a tray piece. These here they are put around a man's legs, and these, they put them in front of you. So they'll take this chain and run around your waist and through your legs and hook it through your handcuffs. So you have to go out of your way just to scratch your nose. Just to scratch your nose. You know, a while back I talked about how I was in the courtroom. While I was in the courtroom, a white lady, the stenographer, she stopped the court procedure. She stopped the court procedure. She says, just like you said it yesterday, she said, what y'all doing to this young man is not right. You know, 2 weeks ago, I found out what she meant. I found out what she meant. These are the court cases in that case that when the lady stood up, the stenographer. And these paperworks read that they arrested me for possession of stolen property. I was in the car with some adults. Because I was there, shouldn't have been. There was guns in the car. And all of us got a charge of possession of stolen property. So, you remember I told you about them 5 cars that I stole. And the case on this paperwork is, you can see here, the case is 78J132. And it says, Ray Charles Lockamy, black, male, age 15, and it gives my address, Route 1, Linden, North Carolina, my mother's name, Mary Lockamy. So what they done was that when I went for this hearing, the judge appointed me a lawyer and someone to make sure the lawyer did what he's supposed to have done, and he wanted my mother present. And when I went to court on February the 2nd of 79, the judge ordered that I be placed on probation for an indefinite period of time. And he also says that, you know, he wanted me back in school. You got to see this is me. See, that's Ray Charles Lockamy. It's the same case, 78J132. And he says that he wanted me on probation for an indefinite period of time, because I was in the car with them people that with stolen guns. So this is my punishment. So, but because I still got the 5 cars that I told you my mother, I jumped in and drove all the gas out of them. So they still saying, okay, I guess I was pretty bad. I was in a car with some guys with some stolen guns, and then I took 5 people's cars and drove all the gas out of them. So, you know, I guess I should have been placed on probation for an indefinite period of time. So what they did was that while I was still, this had happened on February of 79, the judge wanted me to be put on probation for unlimited, for an indefinite period of time. So while I'm waiting in jail for the other, this is for the guns. So while I'm waiting in jail for stealing the 5 cars that my mother didn't know I did, but I really did. You should really, now I understand that I should have told my mother, because if I told my mother that I stole them cars, she would have knew what to do. But because I lied to her, she couldn't help me. So after the judge put me in February of 79, he put me on probation for an unlimited, indefinite period of time. 8 months later, while I'm still in jail, they come back and they say to the judge that the said child did abide the terms of the probation ordered by the court. So they told the court, the judge, well, you might have placed him on probation, but he's going to abide by the probation 8 months later, and that the court judgment juvenile. Let me read this here. That we pray that the court terminate juvenile probation. So what they want to do is they saying 8 months. Even though you put him on probation for being an indefinite period of time, 8 months still in jail. He abide by the terms of the probation. Take him off. So that's what they did. They took me off probation. So now while I'm still waiting in court, because the first paper told them I'm in Harnett County, the judge says that this file should be transferred to Cumberland County, and I should be placed back in school. But they didn't do that. They kept me in jail. And they tell the judge that after 8 months, he abide by the terms of the probation, take him off juvenile probation. And the judge do it. So while I'm still in jail, they send this document to the judge. Same child, but the only difference is this paper reads, Ray Charles Lockamy, white, 17, and I'm no longer a child, I'm a subject. On this paperwork right here is dated. It is dated October the 16th, 1979. 3 days later, October the 19th, they tell the judge that I'm white and I'm a 17-year-old subject, and the juvenile system will not benefit me. And by the stroke of a pen, he made me an adult. So they tell my mother, go home. And my mother leaves the courtroom and she goes home. And the lawyer comes back to me and he says to me, you should sign a plea bargain for the maximum of 56 years. He says, I know you have 10 charges for stealing these cars. And what he said to me is that the judge going to give you 8 to 9 years, and he can run it concurrent or consecutive. That's up to you. And I told you at that point I really didn't care. I knew what they was doing. I knew that shit wasn't right. And so I said, all right. So they give me this paperwork to sign, this plea bargain, as a child. And they asked me a question, and you will see on the paperwork, I says no. They marked through it and write yes. On the back, you ask me questions, I says no. They write through it and mark yes. They really basically didn't care because they had a plan for my ass. And I go in the courtroom, and while I'm in the courtroom, that's when the lady stands up. And she says, what y'all doing to this young man is not right. They took me as a child and violated all my rights and sent me to prison. And I told you the first day I got there, I got knocked out. Man, they got me knocked out for being somewhere I never should have been. So I called my mother about 3 days after this, and she's like, okay, I know he's got a court there. I'm saying, no, Mom. You know, I'm here in prison. They're doing reconstructive surgery on my mouth. Guy hit me in the mouth with a pool ball. And, you know, that never set right with her. My mother died while I was in prison. But this is what I'll say to you children. I put myself in a situation to be set up. My mother knew, and that's why she said, if I knew you was guilty, I've lived long enough and I've seen injustice long enough that I knew if you was innocent or guilty, I never would have told them, because you gave up. Listen, you got to be honest with your parents. You can't lie to them that brought you into this world. How can they protect you? How can they save you when you lying to them what's going on in your life? They've invested in you, have loved you and cared for you. If you lie to them, you're going to do like I did. You're going to put yourself in a situation to get set up and sent away to prison. And the plea bargain reads for the maximum term of, they didn't even put the minimum, of 56 years. And then I don't even know how they was counting back in the end. The charges didn't even care that much, but by the stroke of a pen. And I'm saying to you, if anybody out there, see, there's some more children. I wasn't the only one in there. You know why I got knocked out the first day? There's a guy that rode up with me named Sean. I don't remember his last name. When I got to prison, they was going to make him. And in prison, they have some states they call it commissary, and the other prison is called it canteen. It's where you go and you have money and you get to buy stuff. So my mother had already left me money in jail. So when I got there, they gave me the money. But he went up on the bus with me. And when we arrived, somebody was going to take his money, and I stood up for him. And they hit me in the mouth to make an example. But I tell you what, for the next 19 years and 364 days, I didn't back down. And you can check.